2024 is coming to a rapid close. This past year, I visited more locations, especially new locations, than since before I got married. In this video, I'll share with you my top 5 favorites and tell you what I liked about each of them, including why I think they might be a good selection if you're trying to build your own X-plan.
The truth is, giving yourself an international lifestyle just isn't that tough, and it makes more sense now than ever before. International diversification is freedom insurance. If you want to know how I've done it for my family and how you can do it for yours for a lot less than you think, please subscribe, like, comment, and share with folks you care about.
Number 5, Dubai. In March or April of this past year, I visited Dubai for the very first time. Now, if you haven't been to Dubai, you owe it to yourself to go see this place. It's a marvel. It's an unbelievable achievement, especially when you stop and consider that the whole thing really exists because of not just oil money, but the engineering that is now possible, that humans have done such unbelievable things to be able to build a massive city like this. And it is enormous, not just the skyline. It's well over 4 million people, and it certainly feels like a big city. So not just the downtown area, but everything surrounding it. And that you realize that you are truly situated in the middle of nowhere in a desert, and that the whole thing really relies on desalination plants. And this is the point that I want to make about Dubai. It's fantastic. It's probably an excellent location. I know for a fact it's an excellent location if you got in at the right time for rental real estate, right? I have friends who purchase places. I'm sure they're going to do very, very well. It's still on the way up. They're building like crazy. Dubai is by no means finished in its growth trajectory, but the entire place depends on desalination plants. And if war comes to that region, and it looks like it could, right? I don't know that you want to be trapped in a city that's counting on desalination plants, which could very quickly be destroyed. And then what do? You know, you're surrounded by 4 or 5 million people with no water. So Dubai is a fantastic place to visit. Probably not a bad investment if you have some money. They have enough free trade zones and tax-free areas and reasons for you to set up, or at least consider setting up a business venture there. I certainly liked it when I was there, but by no means would I be moving my family there and trying to ride out whatever's coming in the rest of the 2020s in Dubai. Number 4, El Salvador. Aside from the fact that El Salvador is the hottest place I've ever been on planet Earth, and that we were there at the hottest time of year in essentially what is late fall in the northern hemisphere, but is really still high summer in Central America, on the Pacific coast in El Salvador, the place itself was an absolute marvel. I think the important lesson when you go to El Salvador is that this is a place that was an absolute war zone. And you know, the trajectory, that downward trend, terrible, unbelievable, like unlivable violence for years and years, was arrested, pun intended, and turned around largely on the efforts of one man who started sort of put his feet flat on the ground and just said, no more, and we're going to turn this thing around. I'm talking about Nayib Bukele, and he's a magnificent figure. We drove by his neighborhood. He doesn't live in the presidential palace, at least not often. There's security around his neighborhood, but basically it's just a gated community between the capital and the Pacific coast, so we passed by it, and the cab driver told me that this is where the guy lives. And so to see the turnaround and the lesson that El Salvador provides to the world is that even the worst places can turn around if the right principles, the right values are lifted up and elevated in terms of importance. The people there were magnificent, talking to the drivers and the wait staff and the hotel staff and all of the different local people that we got a chance to speak with, to hear how bad things were for so long, and to understand that if your wife can't go out to buy food at the local supermarket because she has to cross an imaginary line into another neighborhood where a different gang is definitely, you know, claims that as their territory and is very likely to kidnap her and take her for ransom and God knows what else, and that your children aren't safe to go play outside, and then to see and hear from those same people after the turnaround has come. This is a marvelous, marvelous story. I think good things are coming for El Salvador just based on that alone. It has a lot of momentum right now. For my taste, it's a little too hot, but it definitely made the list because it does have a lot of natural beauty, a lot of natural resources. There's good things going on there. They're very, very good people. And anytime you show up in a place that's tired of violence, that's tired of war, that's ready for better times, it's a good bet. It's a very, very good bet. You want to catch a place that's on the way up. I've done this several times in my own life, and that brings me to my third choice. This past year, I visited my old property that I still own on Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. Lake Atitlan is a very unique kind of setup. It's so far off the grid, and it's so far off the beaten path. It is mostly a location and a destination for backpackers, travelers, adventuring young people, right? That's how I ended up there. The lake itself is a kind of microcosm. There's so much going on. There's so many activities activities, both in terms of just enjoying nature and the natural beauty of the place. It is kind of impressive, right? Until I went to Alaska, Lake Atitlan was one of the really impressive natural wonders that I had ever seen. A huge lake the size of Lake Tahoe, surrounded by volcanoes and all the various wildlife and just the living in nature. My own house has bars on the windows. I don't even have glass, right? So hummingbirds come flying in while you're having breakfast, and just that feeling of being just drenched in natural beauty and having nature really saturating you all around you all the time. It's still quite an experience. I really love it. The lake itself is happy or unhappy recipient of a lot of investment from Bitcoin bros. There's all kinds of people building properties and investing in commerce there. You can see the small signs of prosperity because of the amount of foreign capital that it's attracting, and because it appeals to the kind of people, right, who are making tons of money on cryptos and things like this. They love having that kind of secluded hangout to do whatever it is they want to do. There's all kinds of crazy activities to do, everything from, yoga retreats and yoga classes to tantric sex workshops and ayahuasca ceremonies and everything in between. And so it's definitely still a unique place. It's a wonderful destination. The other place that we stayed on the way out after we left the lake and before we flew out, we stayed for a week in Antigua, Guatemala. Antigua, Guatemala is one of the really surprise up-and-comers. It's the old Spanish city, the cobblestones, the whole architecture of it. This is one of the really, really great spots for excellent restaurants, believe it or not. There's tremendous amount of growth in the last, say, 20 years. And now it's kind of reached this threshold where it's definitely a gastronomist's delight, right? You can go from steak houses to local food to French restaurants. I mean, it's really something tremendous. You can't really tell walking past these places what's going on inside them. This is the feature of Spanish architecture, that all the street fronts to all of these various locations doesn't look like much, and then you go inside and there's unbelievable gardens and that whole Spanish courtyard kind of setup that they have with balconies and bougainvillea and the plants and the gardening and all the different manicured, incredible landscaping that goes on after you get inside some of these places. It's really tremendous. It's like no place else. Definitely one of my top destinations. Other people too have told me, like, wow, I didn't really expect that from Antigua, Guatemala. And just a wonderful spot. Also maybe the best climate of any place you can go in the world. Number 2, I visited Medellin, Colombia this year. I just had an absolutely awesome time. Here again, this is another part of the world that was mired in very serious violence for a lot of years. Colombia has turned around quite a long time ago, actually. Many, many years ago, things started getting better in Colombia and have continued to get better. And no place in Colombia probably has received more benefit from the big turnaround, whereas in the 90s and even into the early 2000s, Medellin was still a very, very dangerous, violent place. And then once the turnaround came, once the rebound came, this place really went up quickly. My friend George has all kinds of property there, or he did. I think he sold most of it at this point. But getting a chance to hang out in Medellin, the nightlife, the food, the restaurants, the lifestyle, the tremendous healthy lifestyle that you get in a place like Colombia. Just an exciting place, young population. Everybody has a sort of can-do attitude about getting things done. You don't have any attitudes, like there's no woke mind virus or any of that. It just doesn't exist. And so Medellin is truly charming. It's one of my very, very favorite spots and definitely one of the top locations that I visited for the first time in 2024. And the big winner this year, by far, and no surprise, at least not to me, was Buenos Aires. I just got back as I'm filming this. I've been back from Buenos Aires for about a week now, and it was just an unbelievable visit. I actually got married down there in 2016 and had a wonderful time then and an even better time this trip. And so rented a place in Palermo, very near to the Hippodrome, so we got to see the horses run on horse racing day. There was a big polo tournament. The World Championships of Polo were going on. I went out dancing. Argentina is absolutely one of the very, very top destinations, and not just because of the lifestyle that you can get. You go to Argentina for the lifestyle. It's magnificent. But something else is happening because of Senor Milei and his now famous chainsaw. He has taken a chainsaw to the government, and the changes that he's making, the kinds of reforms that he's implementing are truly, truly, they're working. I mean, bottom line, they're working. A lot of people are struggling. The country's in a deep recession as he tries to turn the ship around. Inflation has gone down from like 300% to about 2% a month. So that's roughly 25% a year. That's a big victory for the Argentine people. But the reason Argentina is going to continue to turn around is this. Foreign direct investment is skyrocketing now. I just read a story that Porsche is now opening a factory in Argentina. Renault, the French car manufacturer, is also opening a factory in Argentina. The Vaca Muerta, the huge oil and gas field out by Neuquén province, is probably going to be the single biggest boon to the Argentine GDP and economy for the coming decades. It's a massive, massive oil and gas field, and it is providing Argentina with total 100% energy independence. In fact, they will be an energy exporter. And all of that is being made possible because foreign direct investment is now comfortable people sending money to Argentina. Previously, the joke was always that Argentina is where money goes to die. And so now that's no longer the case. And you can really tell there's a big sea change in the air in Argentina. And it's still, in my mind, Buenos Aires is still probably the nicest city on earth in terms of all the cultural experience you can have, all the different things that are available for you at, 85% discount to a comparable city in like Europe or North America. There's really no place like it. The people are tremendous. Again, young, hardworking folks who are fed up. Once you've been through the kind of hard times the Argentine people have been through, you're ready for something better to come along. And now that it's coming along, you see a lot of young, hardworking people. There's no bad attitudes. Everybody, again, has a can-do kind of thing. And there's no political correctness. There's no woke bullshit down there. None to speak of anyway. It's certainly not like it is in North America. And so one of the loveliest places on earth and definitely my favorite city anywhere.
Right now, you can join the X-Plan community for just $1. Click below to get all the details. Instead of passively obeying the lunatic decisions by cognitively impaired political hacks, we're building a future where international diversification ensures our freedom and prosperity. You'll get easy access to resources and contacts to help you structure your own international lifestyle, including how you protect your money outside the U.S. banking system, how to quickly get legal documents that allow you and your family to enter a friendly, welcoming, peaceful jurisdiction when trouble hits North America, where to invest in top-tier income-producing real estate, and much, much more. If you decide you want the convenience of private consulting, we offer that option too, but at a tiny fraction of what other so-called experts are charging. So you don't have to break the bank trying to protect your family and preserve your wealth in the chaos of the 2020s. Click below to get all the details and join the X-Plan community for just $1, and I'll see you on the inside.
So that's my wrap up for 2024. We're going to continue to talk about some of the other things that have happened this year, and I'll be back with another video talking about the prosperity that's coming to Argentina. I think of all the places in Latin America, it's Argentina that deserves the most attention right now, and so I'll break that down for you in the next video. For now, don't forget, your freedom begins the moment you realize nobody's coming to save you. That's enough out of me. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with more great stuff.